Right now in central Iowa, drivers run into flash flooding as storm sewers struggle to keep up with today's rain.
And the showers and thunderstorms have moved out of our area, but just for a while. I'll tell you when you can expect them back in my forecast coming up.
The United Nations says it has found new evidence of war crimes in Ukraine as Russian troops continue to try and force a group of besieged troops to surrender.
KCCI 8 News at noon starts right now.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our downtown Skycam right now. Wow, look at that. We got video of storm moving into the metro. Of course, this is a time-lapse video or just what we saw this morning. Take a look at that light show. That is incredible to see as those storms moved into the metro, and those storms brought in more lightning than you can imagine. So all that heavy rain caused street flooding in many places throughout the metro as storm sewers found themselves overwhelmed. This is also a video taken earlier this morning near MLK and Prospect Road here in Des Moines. And also take a look at these pictures of flash flooding in Huxley this morning. You can see how deep the water is compared to that truck's tire. Take a look at that. So here's flooding near a park in Huxley. Adam Orgler sent these in to KCCI. So here's the big question here, because if you're like me, you're probably annoyed. How much will this rain last? Because it is a weather aware day. So let's turn over to Evan Bunkers more on that. This better be over by like 12:30.
Do you want the good news or the bad news?
Let's start with the good news.
All right, the good news is we should be done with the rain here in the metro for right now. However, the bad news is we're going to expect it back in our area tomorrow afternoon and evening. Let's take a look out right now. Showers and thunderstorms have moved off towards the east. A little bit of a zoom in here. We're going to show that the biggest amount of precipitation is just going through the Oskaloosa area, moving out of our viewing area up towards Williamsburg. Now, we did have a flash flood warning for parts of central Iowa that lasted until noon. That has just expired. For you folks up in Jasper County, we do have a flash flood warning in effect until 12:30 today. So once that rain will move out, we're going to have some more showers and thunderstorms moving back in tomorrow afternoon. Current temperatures right now 59 here in the metro, 57 up in Ames, practically shorts weather right now down in Lamoni, 72 degrees. Weather headlines, we're going to dry things out temporarily, but then it's going to be stormy on Saturday. Some of those storms could be severe, and if you haven't had enough of the wind, unfortunately it looks to be a windy weekend ahead. I'll talk about when you might see some dry weather out there in my 8-day forecast coming up.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you, Evan. Well, today's rain forced Drake University to postpone its Drake Relays tradition on campus. The annual student street painting event was supposed to take place today. It will now happen Sunday morning at 10. Now, the paint fight will be Monday afternoon, and the Beautiful Bulldog contest is Monday evening. The Painted Black event will be Tuesday, and the Drake Relays itself starts on Wednesday. Well, 6 of the 10 teenagers charged in last month's shooting outside East High were scheduled to appear before a Polk County judge this morning. At least one submitted a written not guilty plea. 3 had their hearings pushed back to May 13th. All 6 faced first-degree murder and attempted murder charges in the shooting death of 15-year-old Jose Lopez and wounding 2 East High students. And starting next week, Des Moines schools will hold a roundtable discussion about the trauma surrounding the shooting. The meetings start next Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Discussions will also be held at Lincoln, Roosevelt, Hoover, and North High schools through May 12th. Now, students and parents from nearby middle and elementary schools are also invited to attend. We know at noon, a 74-year-old woman injured in a house fire in Nevada has died. Now, the fire happened yesterday afternoon off Maple Avenue, just south of Highway 30th. Authorities say Ruth Olson was taken to an Iowa City burn unit where she died early this morning. They say there was no working smoke alarm in her home. Well, today is Earth Day, a day to celebrate protecting the environment. And the day has also sparked protests downtown. KCCI's Marcus McIntosh is live at Coles Commons. Marcus, what can you tell us and what are you seeing out there?
Hey, Tisia, this is a day where people give voice to environmental consciousness and take action. Here in Coles Commons, things are about to start, but right now people started gathering around noon. Nothing is really going to happen until right around 1 o'clock. That's when the program will start. And then at 2 o'clock, 1:45 or 2 o'clock or so, there will be a march to Mid-American Energy. They're protesting climate change. They say they need to get rid of people who are emitting carbon, and they blame a big part of that on Mid-American Energy. This is a coalition of people of all colors, all genders. They're here to support climate action. They say this is something that is important that they need to do now and they need to take advantage of to keep their planet safe for everyone they love. Now, coming up at 5 and 6, we're going to have much more on the speakers and the march to Mid-American Energy. But until then, I'm Marcus McIntosh, live in Des Moines, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Marcus, with that. Well, you know what? The first Casey's in the Des Moines Metro without gas station is now open on Forest Avenue next to Drake University. So the 3,300 square foot store features fresh made food, drinks, and convenience items. So company leaders say they're excited to change things up.
We always want to be a convenient store. That's the idea at Casey's. The fuel side of things, of course, some places it makes more sense than others given space, but really it's all about we know we have the right stuff here to serve this community.
Well, the store has special deals for its grand opening, like 50-cent donuts and one topping slice of pizza for $1. Sounds good there. Well, today's groundbreaking is just the latest project for the university over at Drake in the neighborhood there. So on Wednesday, construction started on a joint stadium between Drake and Des Moines schools. And the new stadium will go up east of the Knapp Center on the north side of Drake. And the stadium will host Des Moines schools football, soccer, band, and rugby events. It will also be home to Drake's men's and women's soccer teams. Drake and Des Moines schools say the new stadium will be ready for the 2023 football season. And Unity Point opens its new Marshalltown Hospital tomorrow. The new hospital is located just southeast of the intersection of Highway 30 and Highway 14. Unity Point is holding an open house from 9 to 11:30 tomorrow morning. And the new hospital's ER won't open until Wednesday morning. Hospital services will be moved out of the current building in downtown Marshalltown. And now the latest on the war in Ukraine. New satellite images show mass graves just outside of the city of Mariupol. Nearly 1,000 Ukrainian fighters are at a steel mill trying to hold off Russian forces. Skylar Henry reports the Biden administration is stepping up its delivery of weapons to help Ukraine.
New satellite images show what appears to be mass graves in Russian-controlled areas outside of Mariupol. It's the latest evidence of possible war crimes.
We know that the actual numbers are going to be much higher as the horrors inflicted in these areas of intense fighting, such as Mariupol, come to light.
The U.S. Department of Justice has confirmed the U.S. is helping Ukraine's prosecutor general.
They've collected a group of international allies to assist, and so we are helping in the collection of evidence and the preservation of evidence relating to possible war crimes.
Mariupol has been under siege since February 24th. Ukraine says tens of thousands have been killed in the city, with 10,000 more people still trapped there. About 1,000 Ukraine soldiers are making their last stand at a steel manufacturing plant as they battle to hold on to the city.
What we've seen from the people of Mariupol, including those who remain in this facility, is nothing short of bravery. It is nothing short of inspiring.
With Russia now launching a new offensive in eastern Ukraine, the U.S. has sped up the development of a new Ghost drone to be delivered to Ukrainian forces.
This unmanned aerial system is designed for tactical operations. In other words, largely but not exclusively to attack targets.
Russia has been heavily shelling cities and towns in eastern Ukraine, while their ground forces get in place ahead of what is expected to be a very large battle. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Well, Britain says it will reopen its embassy in the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv next week. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson made the announcement this morning, and the British government moved out of Kyiv back in February. Ukrainian troops are also now getting trained on armored patrol vehicles donated by Britain. And this is the first time the troops have trained in Britain since the start of the Russian invasion. Well, firefighters are battling several wildfires in the southwest. In Arizona, fires have destroyed dozens of buildings and forced hundreds of people to evacuate. As Bradley Blackburn shows us, officials expect conditions will only get worse.
A fire that sparked Sunday near Flagstaff, Arizona is now raging out of control. The tunnel fire has already burned more than 32 square miles and is growing, leading Arizona's governor to declare a state of emergency Thursday. Officials fear high winds in the forecast could lead to catastrophic conditions.
There was a lot of fire everywhere, and we were really focused on the subdivisions and trying to get folks out.
In the air, helicopters were able to dump water on the flames for the first time. And on the ground, crews put out sparks and cut fire breaks to try to protect communities. The fire has burned at least 24 homes and businesses and forced 750 families to evacuate. Stephen Rossi loaded his horses onto a trailer, hoping to find somewhere safe to take them.
I figured if I just went far enough, someone's going to take us in.
It's one of several fires now burning in Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado.
Thank you guys so much for your service.
Near Mayer, Arizona, one homeowner used his Ring doorbell to thank firefighters remotely.
It is literally a heart-melting thing to see what they're going through to help save people's homes.
The intense fires are early in the season, but scientists say a 20-year drought fueled by climate change has led to a year-round fire threat in the West. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
And so far this year, there have been nearly 20,000 wildfires nationwide, the most in at least a decade. In Northern California, it's not fire-causing problems, but get this, take a look at that, snow and ice. The snowfall is getting so bad, drivers are forced to use snow chains on their tires just to get around. The store employees say they've sold more tire chains in the last month than they have all year. And the snow has been light in the last 3 months.
And storms are moving out of our area for now, but they're going to be coming back here tomorrow, along with some very windy conditions. I'll give you all the not so great details in my forecast coming up.
Sounds good. And the CDC is putting out an alert today about a mysterious disease, the liver problems this illness is causing in children. Product recalls. The 2 major recalls issued today, including one for a popular appliance you may have in your kitchen.
This is Iowa's news leader, KCCI 8 News at noon.
Well, we've got a number of recalls to tell you about this noon hour. One involves air fryers from Best Buy. So pay attention if you're an air fryer fan. Best Buy says it's called Insignia air fryers and air fryer ovens over safety issues. So some of the fryers can overheat and cause a fire. Best Buy says it's received nearly 100 reports of air fryers and ovens catching fire. So customers are advised to stop using the products and return them for a refund. And Ford says a windshield wipe problem is forcing them to recall nearly 653,000 trucks. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says windshield wipers on the trucks may fail sooner than expected, posing a potential vision threat to the driver. Now, Ford says it has more than 700 reports of wiper problems. Luckily, no accidents were reported. Among the trucks recalled, the 2020 F-150 pickup, so you see there on your screen right now, the Expedition and the Lincoln Navigator SUVs. And Pope Francis is easing back his schedule for medical reasons. The Vatican says he has no appointments scheduled for today due to a medical check. Pope Francis has been dealing with a sore right knee, so his knee is forcing the Pope to sit down as he reads his Easter Sunday message. You can see there. And earlier this month, the Pope described his health as prone to sudden changes. Well, the CDC is issuing a health advisory about a mysterious disease. Bradley Blackburn has the story about the illness causing severe liver inflammation in kids.
The CDC is alerting doctors and public health authorities about a cluster of children identified with hepatitis or liver inflammation and infection with adenovirus. 9 children under 10 were diagnosed in Alabama from October to February, 2 in North Carolina. Doctors at UAB Children's Hospital treated the Alabama cases.
What was odd was just the frequency of how often these children were coming, and the fact that each one of them tested positive for adenovirus.
2 patients needed liver transplants. While the cause remains unclear, health officials are investigating the possible link to adenovirus, which typically causes mild to severe respiratory illness, fever, sore throat, and pink eye. Several of the Alabama cases were positive for a specific adenovirus.
It can also cause gastrointestinal distress, things like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. Adenovirus type 41, as far as we can tell, has never been associated with significant liver injury. And all of these children did have, or most of them had, GI type symptoms and then developed, of course, the hepatitis on top of that.
Dr. Wes Stubblefield with the Alabama Department of Public Health says symptoms of liver inflammation can vary.
It might look like their belly was particularly big. You can also see yellowing of the eyes or skin, something we call jaundice, which is absolutely unusual, especially in an otherwise healthy person.
The hepatitis cases were first identified in Britain, 74 since January. Health officials expect more cases will be picked up with increased surveillance. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
So Easter was 5 days ago, but today gives you one more reason to grab some candy out of the Easter basket. So today is National Jelly Bean Day, and the egg-shaped candies have been closely associated with Easter since the 1930s. A Boston candy maker made jelly beans popular during the Civil War. That looks pretty good over there. We'll see if Evan brought me some here in the newscast. But let's also talk about what's going on behind you. Wow, so much to see right behind you. You can see the building.
They say the views in Iowa are breathtaking. And I mean, this is great out here, right? I think we're looking at my house, maybe, I don't know. But it's a nice day, actually. Well, it's kind of nice out there, but things are going to get better as we go later on in the afternoon. We're currently sitting at 59 degrees here in the metro with just a light rain shower right now, but that is on its way out. Winds are out of the east at 13 miles an hour, and we do have a relative humidity at 96%. Current temperatures right now across the state, much warmer off towards the south. 72 down in Lamoni, same story in Council Bluffs, 57 up in Ames, and 51 over in Mason City. Taking a look at live Super Doppler 8 radar, the main showers and thunderstorms that we had rumble through the area, those have moved off towards the east. We'll do a little bit of a zoom in here. They're starting to leave our viewing area, but we don't want to forget about you folks in Oskaloosa. Over towards Sigourney, a little bit of a heavy shower and thunderstorm right now. There are currently no warnings with these storms right now, but definitely could see some gusty winds and maybe some small pea-sized hail. For you folks up in Jasper County, flash flood warning still in effect for about another 15 minutes, and that will be allowed to expire. So far today, right along the Interstate 80, U.S. Highway 30 corridor, that's where we've seen the brunt of the precipitation, over 2 inches up in Ames and a little over here in Des Moines, over an inch. Now, as we head into tomorrow, we're looking at another possible outbreak of severe weather. The main threats appear to be large hail and gusty winds. I don't think we're going to see much of a tornado threat tomorrow. We may see an isolated tornado, but it looks like the main threat tomorrow will be the showers, thunderstorms with the large hail and gusty winds. Let's break that down hour by hour. Showers and thunderstorms will move out of our area later on this afternoon. Might see even a few breaks of sunshine or peaks of sunshine. And then as we go into the overnight hours, maybe a stray shower or thunderstorm in the early morning hours, and then that'll clear out. But then that's where we see the showers and thunderstorms start to redevelop late tomorrow afternoon into the evening. And then those will push out of our area by the time you head out on Sunday morning. Wind speeds, as if we didn't have enough to talk about. It's going to be breezy for the next 72 hours. Right now, not doing too bad here, but as we go into the futurecast on the winds, especially tomorrow, we could see wind gusts up to 40, possibly even 50 miles per hour as we go throughout the day. And it's going to continue that way into Sunday as another breezy day in store. Forecast for tonight, 64 here in Des Moines, maybe a possible late night shower or a stray shower or thunder shower. 62 up in Ames, 61 in Waterloo, Cedar Falls, and 63 over in Grinnell. If you have any travel plans tomorrow, make sure you don't head out to South Dakota. We do have blizzard watches and warnings up there. 35 in Rapid City, 74 in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and 76 down in Kansas City. Our forecast for today, temperatures well above average. 77 will be our high temperature. Mostly cloudy skies. The rain showers will be ending. For tonight, we may see a stray shower or thunder shower, but otherwise mostly cloudy and windy with a low temperature of 64 degrees. Taking a look at your 8-day forecast, there's those showers and thunderstorms on Saturday. Sunday will dry things out, but it's going to be very breezy. Temperatures below average. And then we're going to dry things out, but temperatures still well below average throughout the end of the 8-day forecast, with just a few chances for showers and thunderstorms later on next week.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you, Evan. Well, in Commitment 2022 coverage today, Iowa's June 7th primary elections are now less than 2 months away. 3 Democrats, Abby Finkenauer, Michael Franken, and Glenn Hurst, are running to win the Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate. And the winner of the primary will be the Democrat running for the seat currently held by 6-term Republican Senator Chuck Grassley, who is seeking re-election. Now, this afternoon, we asked Democratic candidate Mike Franken about his position on the state of voting rights and election laws.
Certainly, from a constitutional perspective, we should encourage maximum voter participation. And as a candidate, I want as many people to vote as possible because I view it as a mandate on what I say and where I need to alter. And if I don't get a good cross-section in that voting electorate, then I don't have a pure understanding of this. Why would we have issues that compress the time or other matters that would stand in their way of voting? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. So I'm a big fan of voting rights.
Our Commitment 2022 coverage continues on KCCI 8 News at 5 when we bring you Mike Franken's candidate profile. And then at 6, Abby Finkenauer explains her views on the state of voting rights and election laws. You'll hear from Glenn Hurst tonight at 10. And if you miss any of this on air, you can always catch up online at kcci.com/Iowa Primary 2022. It's on your screen right there. That's where we are posting all of our Commitment 22 coverage to help you get ready for the June 7th primary. Well, use of wind and solar power hitting record levels. The roadblocks preventing renewable energy from being used even more. The demand for electricity is surging worldwide, creating a boom for wind and solar power. As Tina Kraus reports, there are still obstacles on the road to clean energy.
The winds of change are moving faster than ever, with 50 countries, including the U.S., generating more than 10% of their electricity last year from wind and solar power.
Most countries have now realized that wind and solar are a kind of essential part of their future electricity system.
Researchers at the energy think tank Ember say the fastest transformations are happening in the Netherlands, Australia, and Vietnam. All three switched a tenth of their power from fossil fuels to green sources in the last 2 years. In 2021, all sources of clean energy accounted for 38% of the world's power supply, even more than coal.
Do you believe we are on the road to a cleaner future?
We're moving in completely the right direction. We just need to keep that momentum and that growth going.
As the world's economies bounced back from the pandemic, demand for energy soared, causing a surge in coal power, mostly in China and India, driving rates to the highest level since 1985. With gas prices skyrocketing, spurred on by the war in Ukraine, analysts warn reliance on coal could escalate as European countries look for alternatives to Russian oil and gas. Experts hope the burst of popularity in wind and solar power will be the turning point toward a greener future. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
Let's talk about this. From droughts to severe storms, science is documenting changes in local weather, and those changes have an impact on our community and communities around the country. KCCI's chief meteorologist Chris Gloninger and meteorologist Jason Sadeko will take a look at the impact and possible solutions. Forecasting Our Future airs tomorrow at 7 here on KCCI. And let's talk about our forecast in 2 seconds. Go. Boom.
2 seconds. Showers and thunderstorms tomorrow, then drying out.
Bada bing,
windy.
bada boom. All right. Thanks for joining us. Bye.